Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Iowa Gun Owners. If you're a gun owner in Senate District number 20, which is the east side of Des Moines, Altoona, and Pleasant Hill, take a moment to watch this video as we compare the record of Senator Nate Boulton versus his challenger when it comes to your gun rights. Guys, the election's almost here. Everyone knows that. And Kamala Harris is the biggest crazy lefty gun-grabbing commie that we have ever seen on the presidential ticket in this country. And her hatred of gun owners is spreading down ballot, as you're about to hear, right here into Iowa. And so as gun owners, we must stand up right now and send a message and remind Kamala Harris and the Democrats right here in Des Moines that Iowa stands for freedom. So guys, this video is not going to tell you who to vote for. We can't do that. We will give you guys the information, though, that you need to make an informed decision. And we're going to begin with the incumbent, Nate Boulton. Now, for those who don't know, Senator Bolton has been there for the last 8 years in the Iowa Senate. So as you can imagine, as we've done so much to expand gun rights freedom here in Iowa in that time, he's voted no on pretty much every single pro-gun bill we've ever accomplished here in Iowa. So no surprise, Nate Boulton was a no vote on stand your ground law. So he wants blue county prosecutors, like right here in Polk County, to put you in prison for daring to use your firearm to defend your family. He's a no vote on constitutional carry. He was a no vote on the Freedom Amendment 2 years ago, which put protections for our gun rights into our state constitution. He's a left-wing lawyer, after all, and he knows that once we accomplish this in the Iowa Constitution, it's a lot harder for Bloomberg-funded law firms to come after our gun rights in the courts. He was a no vote on teacher carry. He wanted to make sure that the old way of doing things, where teachers could not carry on school property, where your children and your grandchildren were vulnerable because nobody on school grounds could defend them, he wanted to keep that process as the law. So he was a no vote on teacher carry. Absolutely absurd. That's Nate Boulton. But I mentioned to you how Kamala Harris's hatred for guns is spreading down ballot, right? If you haven't done so, take a moment and Google the Iowa Senate Democrat Party platform, or simply Iowa Democratic Party platform. And you're going to see a gun control agenda that will blow your mind. What you're going to see is agenda items for us right here in Des Moines that, frankly, we've only ever seen in places like New York or California or Massachusetts. And as a leader in the Iowa Democratic Party, Nate Boulton has never rejected any of this. In fact, he is fully on board with some of this insanity. What am I talking about? Well, for one, they want to mandate mental health exams every time a gun owner in Iowa wants to buy a firearm. You can look it up. You can see it in their own platform. Mental health exams for gun owners. Not for crazy criminals, not for liberal politicians who have crazy mentally ill ideas, not for 400-pound perverts who want to read books to your 5-year-old daughter in a library. No, they want mental health exams for you, for me, for law-abiding gun owners. Number two, they want ammo registration. They want to register not just the guns you own, but the ammo you buy. They want the state, and then by extension, the federal government, to have a list of every single thing you own when it comes to the Second Amendment. Again, you can look it up right now on their platform. Number three, they want liability insurance for gun owners. They want you and me, as a condition of owning a gun here in Iowa, to carry civil liability insurance. Again, there's no liability insurance requirements for murderers, for rapists, for armed robbery suspects. No, just you, just us, just law-abiding Iowans. If you want to exercise your right to keep and bear arms, according to Nate Boulton and his allies, you have to have liability insurance first. Guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is 10 or 12 other items on their platform that Nate Boulton and Senate Democrats want to accomplish here in Iowa. They want to repeal constitutional carry. They want to repeal stand your ground law. The list goes on and on and on. So when it comes to Nate Boulton, pretty simple, pretty black and white. 8 years of voting against your gun rights, and now, as a leader in the Democratic Party here in Iowa, pushing an agenda for gun control that we have never seen in this state before. That's Nate Boulton. And that brings up Pike. Now, pretty much With Mike Pike, it's the exact opposite of what you got when it comes to Nate Boulton. So Mike Pike surveyed 100% pro-gun with Iowa gun owners. And that means that every question we asked him, he answered pro-gun, but he did it in writing so that all of us can know exactly how he's going to vote on the big issues of the day. That's a strong statement. And in that survey, Mike said he agrees with the Second Amendment Preservation Act, which is the law that would preclude the federal government from using Iowa cops to enforce federal gun control laws. Mike Pike supports that. Mike knows that we have to enhance stand your ground law. I mentioned how Nate Boulton wants to repeal stand your ground law, and he was a no vote on that way back in 2017. The problem with Iowa's stand your ground law is it didn't go far enough. Stand your ground law right now means that if you use your firearm in a self-defense situation, in the eyes of the law, you're guilty, and you have to prove your innocence in court. That's backwards. This is America. Supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, and in 20 other states, they are. Gun owners in those states have the presumption of innocence, but we don't here in Iowa. And that might not have mattered 10, 15 years ago, but now that we have Soros-backed prosecutors in Polk County and that threat is spreading across the state, we cannot take any chances. We have to have the presumption of innocence lying with us, the gun owner. Mike Pike agrees. He would support that bill. Mike knows we have to ban red flag gun seizures. Of course, Nate Boulton wants red flag laws. Mike knows we have to ban them, as other red states have already done. And so Mike not only would vote for it, he said he would champion that bill in the Iowa Senate. Everything else we asked him: defend constitutional carry, no AR-15 ban. The entire sick agenda of Nate Boulton and Iowa Democrats, he is opposed to that. Mike Pike, 100% a fighter when it comes to the Second Amendment. I talked to Mike and I asked him, why are you going to run? I always ask candidates, why do you want to run? And he said, well, I got 6 kids. And he said, I think that one of the things about being in Iowa, such a great state, free, peaceful, relatively crime-free compared to blue states, is that so often we like to tell ourselves that it's always going to be like this. And Mike told me point blank on the phone that, if we don't fight for our current freedoms, if we don't fight to hold the line, we're going to see all this stuff evaporate in our lifetime. And frankly, I haven't heard a statement that well said from a candidate in a very long time. So Mike Pike, certainly 100% pro-gun, but has a worldview to backstop the freedoms that he is professing to support on his survey. If you see Mike Pike, thank this guy for standing up for freedom and the Second Amendment here in Iowa. And if you see Senator Bolton, tell this guy to apologize for being a lefty commie who has opposed every expansion of our gun rights for the last 8 years in the Senate. And tell him to apologize for pushing a gun control agenda here that, frankly, we've only ever heard of in blue states. This is the future if we don't send a message here in Iowa. Guys, don't forget, Election Day is November 5, but also don't forget, early voting begins October 16. So guys, get out there, get educated, educate your friends, and that's all. Send a message on November 5 that Iowa stands for freedom.